Kanye's friendship with Trump about that was
I don't think he's a
people are
bit. Okay,
people are blowing that up on Twitter all the time.
I don't.
He's an Uncle Tom.
I don't.
Oh no, friend of the show, friend of the show, Fame Entertainment. You guys know him as. I'm gonna bleep that out.
Okay,
A friend of the show, Fame, tweeted out when the Kanye shit blew up at the first. He put out a tweet, and I put the image up on screen
with the hat.
No, that's Kanye with the "Make America Great Again."
Yeah,
where he signed it. That's Kanye. I was thinking about Fame's tweet was it was a tweet of Dave Chappelle with the racial draft, and he was like talking, and he said, "We would the black delegation would like to trade Kanye West for Eminem because they don't want they don't want to
see. It's like
they
black
don't want to
people only want shitty people. Like as soon as Eminem turns into like the worst rapper in the history of the world somehow with his last album, it's like, oh, now we want him. Like.
All right. So my next topic I want to talk about is Kanye. So I saw the TMZ interview. I did not see the Charlemagne interview, but I got a little bit of a Cliff Notes.
I watched the second one too.
You did?
Yeah.
So, okay. So there's a lot to unpack here as far as the Kanye thing. There's the idea. I've heard the idea of like when you're famous, you have this platform and you have so many followers. You know, what responsibilities do you have to the people that follow you? You know, like there's that aspect. There's also the aspect of being able to represent yourself well when you speak for the first time because he did he tried to walk back some of the stuff or clarify. But there's just also just what he said in general about slavery being a choice, which was that was insane.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it's insane if you literally stop the sentence right here, stop the sentence here, and then cut that part
Actually,
out.
I think we're in agreement on this one.
Okay.
Because
if you selectively edit his mouth, then yes, it's crazy.
I think you have to watch the whole thing because he's all over. First thing we need to say,
Kanye sucks at arguing.
He was high.
What? I don't know.
If he wasn't high, he was on something.
Okay.
Because if you watch that interview, he's like everywhere.
Yeah.
He's throwing ideas and arguments like out their ass. So he had no collective thought at all.
Well, my understanding of Kanye West, and this is not what
as far as slavery thing, I think what he meant is that we choose to be enslaved by what we hear today. I don't think he meant slavery was a choice 400 years ago.
No, well, he said for 400 years.
No, he said for 400 years there was slavery, and
which factually is incorrect because it was only around for 2.
He said that, but I think he said it wrong.
No, but see, I think he said it right because he was trying to say what you're trying to say. Like, if you just think about it, he clearly didn't mean slavery existed for 400 years because that would mean slavery would be existing now.
Right.
Clearly, it's
slavery
not
it didn't exist in America for 400, but slavery has existed for a long ass time.
I could admit that, but I don't think he was talking in that context.
No, I know you.
So he was probably talking in the American context.
Yeah.
And if you listen to what he said, he would be implying that there's slavery going on today and people are choosing to be enslaved. But
some people do believe they're still being enslaved. And I think that's what he was trying to link it to, was that today it's not so much being forced slave, but you choosing to be enslaved by taking on this certain information and just going with the flow without doing the research yourself, without thinking for yourself. You just thinking for what somebody else tells you to think. And the point that he was trying to make, you're choosing to be enslaved today.
Yeah.
And you're not.
He said that in the next line.
Which is why I think
he literally said it's like people 400 years of slavery. That sounds like a choice to me. Like, you know what? Like, I don't even want to use slavery because like Jews in the Holocaust, black people in slavery, they're like very specific. I think I added that part, but he's like, I like prison better because we can all relate to prison. Okay. It's like we're mentally in a prison. He literally said these words right afterwards. Yeah. And I'm not gonna disagree that the word choice he used at first was bad, but as someone who gets exposed to ideas and it's so hard to like put it together and verbalize and make it concrete, I understand where Kanye's coming from because it's coming at him hard and fast. It's like when you get a revelation, it's almost more experiential than verbal. at first. So he's working.
I just think he was high.
I think he was passionate.
I will say this about
he was on drugs, high, or something.
Instead of being high, he could just be high on Kanye because my understanding about Kanye is he's so full of himself. He's so egomaniacal.
True, because like if you watch,
what does that have to do with this?
Because you always believe what you're saying, no matter what. So, like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be on a substance because I believe in my own hype so much.
Not
so
just that, you don't really need to think about what you're saying. You just spit out whatever comes out of your mouth.
I don't think he was. It's like he knows what he's trying to say. But okay, so when you're able to verbalize something, that's almost the end of the process. There's so much mental process below it where you have senses and inklings, and especially if you're a visual thinker, like he might see what he's trying to say, but then he's trying to translate it into words so we can communicate it to us. Or he might, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
Like artists.
I agree. Like, I understand where he was trying to go. He just said it wrong.
Yeah, but I feel like we need the space for people to make mistakes like that and correct them a little. And I don't even really because he said it wrong and he wasn't like lying or it wasn't like counterfactual. It wasn't factual. It's just he didn't say it in a way that people would be able to take
understand
it.
Understand it.
Yeah, it was easily misunderstood. I don't think he actually said anything wrong in the full context. But like you said, if you just cut that little snippet, it was really easy to misunderstand. And that was a mistake. It wasn't as easy to understand for people. But I don't think anything he said was actually wrong. So, in that sense, but I actually think he might be wrong about that.
So then, what he's been saying this, and so what he was trying to say is that our mental slavery / prison is a choice right now in our society.
Yes, if you choose to say, let's say, the government tells you that ice cream is bad, right? Like Bluebell, right?
Yeah.
But without Bluebell having to explain it, and you just accept that fact, and you're like, okay, it's bad. I'm not.
You're just a sheep.
You're a sheep.
Or another
one. You need to question it. You need to question why it's bad. What's wrong with it?
Yeah. But I would say not just government, any power. I think he was
any power. Yeah. But I'm just using that as an example. Like you need to question it.
Yeah, you can't just be like a sheep.
Exactly. And I think that's the message he was trying to say, but he didn't say it.
Okay, so but then what does it apply to what Kanye was talking about in general? Because again, it felt like he was talking about Black people in America or the slaves. That's what he kind of was. He was. What I felt
I think
like he
his
was talking
context
about
was America because, as far as I know, he's basically
not
American.
I know.
He lives in America.
The whole thing
was it black Americans or America? That's what I was getting. My question.
The prison thing is all Americans. Probably.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think
to differing degrees.
Well, when you say the slavery, like 400 years of slavery, he was using the black slavery as a build up to his thought.
Okay.
Which came off wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think he was even specifically talking about black people more so. Like, we're all kind of in mental prisons, but especially black people. And you can tell from what Candace Owens was saying and some of the people he's been tweeting that that's what he's getting at. They're, like, basically on the Democratic plantations. They kind of went from the Democratic plantations of the fields to the Democratic plantations of the inner cities, and they never got off.
So, I mean, what he was trying to say was noble, but he just he was high.
That one I don't know.
I am so convinced he was high.
I think he might his brain just might be like very.
He's an artist.
Yeah, literally though, because artists tend to be very liberal thinkers, so they can think in wide diasporas. And then when you see it in a grand sense, it's sometimes hard to get it all in here and be like, these words mean exactly this whole picture that I see.
I think you had to put it in context of what he was trying to say in the whole. You can't just chop it. Honestly, I think that's what happened in the 2016 election.
What do you mean?
The 2016 election to me was that everybody cut up bits and pieces of each person.
Sound bites.
The sound bites.
That's what I do. That's what I do. I do this in the show all the time.
Right? Donald Trump,
Yeah.
Mexico is sending in, criminals.
Build the wall.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, that's why we need the wall, because they're sending in the worst people.
Yeah.
But when you take the whole thing into the message he was trying to deliver, it goes beyond that.
So you're a Trump supporter. Tell me more about this.
I am a Trump supporter.
Really? Oh.
But I wasn't a Trump supporter. You know who convinced me to be a Trump supporter? Democrats. I swear to God.
Like, honestly, to tell you the truth, just for me,
I used to be a Hillary Clinton supporter.
I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter.
Yeah, I was her supporter from the first election. And then after what happened with her being Secretary of State, blah, 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 I was like, this bitch is weird.
She sucks.
So she sucks.
Yeah.
She, I'm very pro military. I'm very pro, law enforcement, rule of law, the order of things, regulation and all that shit. But reasonable I'm not saying that we should regulate every fucking thing out the ass. Reasonable regulation, right? Seatbelts, reasonable regulation.
I think we just agree about what's reasonable in reality. Or what would happen.
Topic is done. Now, anyways.
See, that's the thing. We're talking about sound bites. That's the problem with these conversations. Like, I usually prefer, like, the kind of Joe Rogan podcast kind of things where they have, like, they can really dish out and do this kind of stuff because everybody wants something quickly and easily digestible. And that's not even true because Joe Rogan is one of the most popular podcasters in the world. And he does, like, 3-hour podcasts on the daily.
Yeah.
So
daily? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Or at least 5 times a week.
God damn.
Yeah.
I can only do this once a week.
Yeah. So he's grinding hard with these conversations. And it's things that has to evolve naturally over time. But if you have to compress everything into like 20-minute windows like the news needs, to make a 30-minute show or whatever, you can't have the full conversation. Or if you need to...
But anyways, back to what I was saying. Because we already went over this.
Yes.
All the sound bites from Donald Trump is what made me... Like, I'm the kind of person, when I see a sound bite, I was like, okay, I'm not going to judge it. I need to see what context it came from.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll watch the speeches. I read his speeches and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, it makes sense. He's not the greatest speaker in the world. Barack Obama was pretty great at speech.
Yes.
He was great at sounding like he would know what he was talking
about. He's an orator.
Barack Obama was great. But the thing that Barack Obama lacked for me was his social justice kind of mentality, which I don't believe. Well, I mean, to a certain degree, I think there needs to be social justice, but it has to be progressed naturally.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can't push it too fast because then
it's just tyrannical or authoritarian.
You're gonna
and you'll get a backlash.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit that brick wall and everything's just gonna go downhill.
Okay.
So, with Trump, he sucks at speaking.
I would debate that strongly. He's really good at speaking to people in the soundbite world. He'll emphasize his points. He'll repeat the same thing multiple times. He'll get it in your head.
Yes.
So that's a good communicator.
No, when you look at it, like his, not so much point of view, his
style,
his. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
His style, like, what do you mean, like?
When you look at his
behavior,
his ideas, whatever, and you put the whole thing in perspective, and you're just like, okay, he's not just building a wall because he wants to keep Mexicans out.
Right.
It has to do with security. It has to do with this. And it also has to do I'm an immigrant. Okay, I'm an immigrant.
Mother Russia.
Right? And the first time I came to U.S. in 94, okay, the first thing I heard about politics was like, the man is keeping us down, the government doesn't do shit, but we keep electing the same people over and over and over again.
Right.
Donald Trump was not the same person. Donald Trump was like out the wall person, and like, is that kind of guy you don't want to invite to your house for dinner. But when you look at it from the business point of view, and like, he's that mad genius kind of guy, like
crazy like a fox.
Exactly, which is why it works with North Korea right now, because they're both so fucking crazy, but it works. They're like sizing up each other, right?
Whenever they shake hands, they're like always.
They're basically sizing up each other, and then
you're like, whenever like Donald Trump shakes hands, it's always like awkward.
Right now,
he pulls you in.
Yeah, they're trying to strong arm each other, like
Right now, we're waiting to see who's gonna blink first. Yeah. We're hoping North Korea blinks first.
Right.
Well, I mean, is it even that now? Because I mean, they're both going to the table. They've released prisoners. Like,
they're still sizing up right now. Right now, it's still sizing up.
Two little alpha males kind of.
Until there's the ink on that paper. And they're going to be sizing up each other until that day.
So going back to Kanye, because that was the topic.
I think we're done with Kanye.
Well, I wanted to just ask just the one last question about the Kanye topic was, so it doesn't bother you because like what part of the other controversy is his friendship with Trump, Kanye's friendship with Trump about that was.
I don't think he's
people
a bit. Okay,
people are blowing that up on Twitter all the time.
I don't.
He's an Uncle Tom.
I don't.
Oh no, friend of the show. Yeah, friend of the show, Fame Entertainment. You guys know him as. I'm gonna bleep that out.
Okay,
a friend of the show, Fame, tweeted out when the Kanye shit blew up at the first. He put out a tweet, and I put the image up on screen
with the hat.
No, that's Kanye with the "Make America Great Again," or he signed it. That's Kanye. I was thinking about Fame's tweet was it was a tweet of Dave Chappelle with the racial. Draft, and he was like talking, and he said, "We would the black delegation would like to trade Kanye West for Eminem because they don't they don't want to
see. It's like they don't want to. People only want shitty people. Like as soon as Eminem turns into like the worst rapper in the history of the world somehow with his last album, it's like, oh, now we want him. Like it's like black culture is like, let's just take the most crappiest thing right now, and I feel like that's it in a nutshell right there.
But anyways, back to Kanye. I don't think he's really so much a Trump supporter.
He just likes Trump personally.
He also made a point too. Before the election, people love Trump. They put Trump in the videos. They put Trump in the music. They put Trump.
Eminem even did it too.
They put Trump in movies. Right? Everybody loved Trump.
But not even everybody, but black culture especially loved Trump.
But when the narrative changed, him being Republican. If Trump was a Democrat, man, I don't think we'll be having this conversation.
Even though he basically is.
No, I mean.
He's basically Bill Clinton right now.
He's
a little right of Bill Clinton in his policy, but he's basically Bill Clinton.
I don't want to say he's I think.
Well,
I think what happened with Democrats, like I used to be a Democrat, and people say, "Well, why are you a Republican now?" I don't think my views changed. I think what happened with Democrats is that they moved way to the left.
Yeah, that's what
they moved way out there, and then people that were stuck, right there in the middle. They're like, they need a place to go. So the Republicans go, okay, we'll scoot over a little bit. They didn't completely, they didn't completely go over. They're just like, we'll scoot over just a little bit.
The Republicans kind of opened up the tent a little.
We're going to just pick up a couple of you that are like right in the middle, just a few of you. And then other you're on your own. You can be.
Well, Ronald Reagan said the same thing. He was a Democrat in his time too, but he's like, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left
me. Exactly. So, I think
that's
Trump
was a Democrat up until like 2 years ago. That's why I think he literally, if you really
I think he changed like a little while before, but
but it was semi-recent at least. And he was friends with Hillary and them. He's from New York. He runs everything like a big government Democrat for the most part. He's kind of doing more conservative things because he's in the Republican Party, I think. And some of it is business oriented.
I think he's more conservative now because he's using the business mentality.
Well, it depends on what you mean by conservative. I think he's as socially conservative as he was before. He's socially liberal.
There are certain things he has to do because he's in the Republican Party. Right, the Second Amendment.
To appeal to the base that he has.
He has to.
But I think, he's kind of
he doesn't really give a damn about guns.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that. He adopted the whole NRA thing simply because he needed.
Well, I don't even know if because people say he's a populist. I wouldn't say it's necessarily fair to say that he adopted it. It's just he's expressing the will of the people, and the will of the people, at least his base and the people that support him, is don't tread on our Second Amendment. So I don't think it's like he's.
But then also, like, I don't think he personally gives a damn about Second Amendment.
No, but that's what a populist is. They just do what the populist
exactly. Want. But he understands why Second Amendment is important.
I don't even know if he understands that.
I think he does. I think he understands because.
I think he understands why it's important to people. I don't know if he understands why it's important.
He understands why it's important because he understands why it's important for businesses to be. To have less regulation, right? Because he has a business, right? And he understands that so much regulation is gonna
slow you down,
him down, right?
Make it hard for people to even.
But he also understands that it has to be reasonable regulation. There has to be, regardless of how much regulation you believe there should be. That's a whole different topic. but there has to be some sort of reasonable regulation.
See, and I think I said this in the Facebook comments. Like, reasonable is just one of those words that almost means nothing.
Well, no, reason
because it's not really. We're not reusing our reason. We're just going with whatever it kind of feel. It's not reasonable. It's feelable regulation. It's like when they say common sense gun control. No one really knows what that means. They don't know what common sense means in that. It's just like this feeling of a sense of a word. See, and that's how people use reasonable. Like, if you agree with me, then you're reasonable. That's what they mean usually. Like, reasonable regulation is what I think it is.
Like, we can find a common ground. Right, that. Well, no, reasonable, right? Yeah, reasonable is.
That's what it should mean, but I don't think usually when they say it, they mean it when they use the word common sense. It's a
reasonable to them is whatever they agree with. That's reasonable.
Yeah. Because if you agree with me, then you're reasonable. That's usually what they mean.
So,
But I will say, since it feels like we're wrapping up the topic, quote unquote, this topic, this section. I appreciate. I don't necessarily agree with what Kanye thinks in any aspect per se, but I super appreciate what he's doing for the culture. Just breaking the chains of people, what they can and can't think about, or what they should and shouldn't consider. Like, I feel like
he's a real mold breaker, a real trailblazer.
Yeah, it's like a Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Kanye West. Like, they're all bringing us out.
I really wouldn't put him next to Harriet Tubman, but
I'm saying, like, obviously, like how he was talking about mental prison. That's what he's doing. When you're at that position and people respect you, it makes it easier to think different thoughts when they say it's okay. When the people in charge, Kanye, the people at the top of the culture are in charge.
Kanye wasn't the first person to. The reason we're talking about Kanye West is just how he said it.
Delivery.
No, we're talking about Kanye West because he's going against. You're not supposed to have the kind of power he has.
No, because there's plenty of black people who said the same thing he just said.
At his level?
Well, I wouldn't say at his level because they're
that's
afraid.
what I'm saying. The problem is he has too much power, and people say that.
Actually, you know what? Ice Cube said the same thing. Open up your mind. He's like,
Oprah says that all the time.
No, Oprah says, open up your mind and do what the Democrats want. Ice Cube,
Ice Cube say think for yourself. It's like
he does, but then he also he advocates for. He says that, but then everything he personally believes is thinking like everybody. Well, not everything.
Well, it doesn't matter what he personally believes.
No, but it does though.
No, it doesn't.
People look up to people at the height of the culture that everyone respects.
I think that's where we need to start separating certain things.
Yeah.
You can advocate for, open up your mind, do your research, think for yourself. Mm-hmm. And at the same time say, well, you know what? I'm still a Donald Trump supporter. Even though I'm going to be on this side of the aisle, you still should, open your horizon. It doesn't matter what spectrum you're on, as long as it's your own thought, as long as it's your own ideas, right?
I get. Well, I would say even your own ideas that usually are the problem. You have to open yourself up to other ideas, other perspectives.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can sit there and okay, I get where you're coming from, but here's my reason for this and whatever. You can still believe whatever you want. But then also preach, think for yourself.
Practice what you preach, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, no, because you can think for yourself and come to these conclusions.
Yeah.
But the problem is, people they're designed by nature, on average, to look to whoever's running this, who's the most successful, and blind imitation. Like
we're at a point where we think that celebrities can only preach what they believe.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
But celebrities should preach what they believe.
Okay.
Right?
I guess. Or sometimes they should just be
and celebrities get to the point of where they're going to preach what they believe. And that their mentality is the only thing you should believe because you're their fan.
But I don't even think most celebrities aren't dictatorial like that. It's just human nature,
of course.
It's when you admire someone, you want to start being like them.
But I think whenever you're at a platform like Kanye West, you should preach the thing think for yourself. Who gives a damn what I think? Who gives a damn, what my political spectrum is? Who gives a damn if I'm wearing Make America Great Again hat? Think for yourself. You agree with me, disagree with me, whatever, think for yourself.
But see, there's incentives not to do that because
a lot of people feel
I'm
like
a Beyonce fan and she tells me, don't do what I do, just think for yourself. Like, if you're a fan of me, that's cool, but you shouldn't think any of the same thoughts I do. That's not going to be very helpful when she's trying to sell CoverGirl or Maybelline.
Oh,
like,
of
she
course
wants
not.
you to,
of course not.
Yeah,
of course. Which is where the hypocrisy comes, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not even hypocrisy. I think it's like
is.
it's designed to like. People naturally, they look at people they admire and want to copy them. And you naturally admire people that are very successful. So you want to think like them, you want to do like them because you want to be as successful. It's built into your
Well,
DNA.
sure, you want to be as successful, but you don't want to be their sheep.
You don't want to be their sheep, but
you shouldn't be their sheep.
You shouldn't.
I'm a lot of people's sheep.
Yeah, when you're reasoning, you shouldn't be their sheep. But in your heart of hearts, like your brain, evolution has designed you to mimic people that are successful, so you will also be successful. It's built into your DNA. Now, some people have variations on that, but for the most part, 80% of people, they look at whoever's doing really good and like, let me do what they're doing. Because that's usually, if LeBron is working out 7 times a week or something, then I need to be working 7 times a week if I want to be as successful. Like, it's
like when The Rock puts his Instagram photos of him working out, I was like, and his diet. Oh my God, I want to be like The Rock.
Yeah, like if you want to, you just start blindly.
I want to be like The Rock.
Louis, you want to be like The Rock?
Right. Blind copy. It's in the DNA.
It's like I've seen his diet. I was like, holy shit. Oh my goddamn.
Yeah, but see, it's in the DNA to blindly copy.
You pay attention to his biceps very well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Goddamn. I dream about it every night. No, that's right. You know, it's really weird as you say it. Like I'm thinking about all those times. Like, oh damn, I'm very sheepish.
But see, it's not necessarily a problem because your instinct is to copy people that are successful. It's a good instinct because people that in history that have copied people that are successful became more successful.
Yeah.
But see, you have to kind of in this day and age, you have to kind of start. You have to do the harder work instead of blind copying. You have to start separating.
Selectively.
This is what's making them successful in this arena. But this is the stuff that's not it's just incidental.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell. That's why blind copying has been built into evolution because it's hard to tell exactly what someone's doing when they're successful. If you copy everything they're doing, you're going to be as successful as them because you're doing everything that they're doing.
Like when successful people write books about how to be successful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the most part. But see, if they tell you everything and you do the whole book, then you'll be pretty much at their level.
No, you won't.
No, but they don't write everything. See, that's the thing. They don't write everything though, and people don't execute all.
Why is it that they want to say I'm going to teach you everything you know, but I'm not going to teach you everything I know?
Because there's an instinct to, and it's in there. But
why? Because you don't want them to be successful as you. No, well, you don't want competition. Right? You want to be the guy at the top.
Yeah.
You don't want to be someone next to you.
Yeah. People at the top.
No, you don't. Because that guy next to you, eventually, he's going to be like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
He's gonna
I can be his boss.
Well, it depends. Because there's an ethic that can override that tendency. Because the tendency is everybody wants to get to the top. That's a human universal. But then when you get to the top, historically, the tendency is to hold on to power, which is why I'm generally against power and all that stuff.
Well, so that's fine.
This all kind of winds
like as soon as I become like the head of a committee, I'm like, oh, it gets to my head.
Yeah,
right.
I need to lock it down so I stay head of the committee.
Which is why we need regulation to control the power.
No, but see, you can't control that. There's no regulation to control people's avarice and greed like that. Because people
but in the masses, you can.
No, but see, in the masses, you don't need to. You just need them because America was designed to just have these things counteract each other. To balance
checks and balances. Got it.
Self-checks and balances.
Regulation.
No, but see, the regulation.
Checks and balances. No, that's what they are. No. Look, whether it's like business regulation or laws are regulations too. They're just laws.
Yeah, they're just
but they're civil regulation for us to coexist with each other.
Right.
But there's still regulation, right?
Our activity.
We would not be where we are today without most of those laws.
I would disagree because we were here before the laws were here.
Well, no. As a human civilization, we would still be here.
But see, that's the thing.
But we're still going to be in the Stone Ages.
They're already in us. We're already practicing them for a large degree. When you verbalize something, like how I said earlier, it's the last part of the process. We've already been following the laws before we even knew the laws.
Yeah, but without those laws...
we need to have something etched into so that way whenever you're in violation of it we can
I agree. Yeah, but the violations need to be very specific and few and far between because the rules they need to be
that's fine. That's
the bare minimum so you can have a functioning society, but they can't be so claustrophobic that it holds you in stasis or you can't move.
Are you claustrophobic?
No.
I mean, you need to go invent something. Go for it.
No, I'm not. I'm saying because if you put too much on something, it kills it. Like exercise is good, but if you put 10,000 pounds on someone, they're gonna get crushed and die. So some amount of weight is okay.